Selena. Welcome to Super Talk Show. It's so nice to have you with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I want to start with asking you, what's your personal story and how did you figure out the Harvard Crimson Global competition in the first place? Because you actually ended up winning it as one of the global champions.
My name is Selena and I'm 18 years old. And I was born in Seoul, South Korea, and I actually live here right now. So I'm currently going to a Korean high school, so no English curriculum whatsoever. And I kind of kept on studying English and keeping up with that part by myself outside of school. And I think I got an email, an advertisement email from the Harvard Crimson contest. And I honestly, the only reason I actually submitted my essay in the first round is because they had those online lectures and
Mm,
talking from the famous people and lectures on how to write better and all that. And I was like, I mean I already liked writing, but I wanted to be good at it and I didn't think I was. So I was like, okay, I'll just submit an essay and I'll just participate and gain knowledge and get better at writing so that I can actually be good at something that I'm actually liking. So yeah, so the lectures were a big part of why I actually started writing my essay. And yeah, I honestly did not think that this was gonna happen. So I'm still really shocked.
mm-hmm. Wow, that's really cool. I want to go back to your first point. You go to a
Mhm.
Korean high school. It's not a full English curriculum. Did you live outside of Korea before, or
Mhm.
to learn
So
English a little?
so basically I did live in the US for 2.5 years,
Okay.
but that's not exactly where I learned English
Oh.
because I was born in Seoul and I kind of moved around a lot in Seoul, but the neighborhood that I grew up mostly in, my elementary school years, it was a really academically competitive neighborhood, and they have a really good they have really good like they call it hagwon in Korean, and it's basically where an after school academy
Oh.
where you can learn way more advanced stuff apart from schoolwork. So basically, all the kids there, everyone goes to one of those and learns English. And I actually somehow thought English was a really fun thing to learn about. And I think I started learning English when I was 7 years old. And I kind of approached it more as a hobby apart, not studying,
Wow.
because I started watching TV shows actually. I remember watching Hannah Montana and all those Disney shows, and basically just watching them and hearing English all the time kind of helped me become fluent. So by the time I moved to the US, which was when I was 13, I was kind of fluent in English. I wasn't perfect, but I could converse with people and talk to people fine. So yeah, and then I lived in the US, and I think those 2.5 years basically helped me grow my English academics wise, because
Mm,
taking all the subjects in English really helped a lot. Because living in Korea, you don't get to really learn science or social sciences or maths or whatever in English. Those are all in Korean. You just learn English for English.
yeah.
So I think that's what really helped by living outside and living in a country where they speak English. But just being able to talk to people and just being fluent in it, I think that all just developed in Seoul when I was growing up.
That's genuinely really impressive, though. It personally, I'm learning Spanish, Polish, and a little bit of French, and I really can't imagine you know, from someone who just don't know English besides, schoolwork to develop that into so fluent. That's really crazy. But we're gonna switch the topic a little bit more to your Harvard Crimson Global Essay Competition journey. I want to ask, what was your initial reaction, because we both did argumentative, right? We know that transition from round one winning to the second round, it's very time consuming, like to just digest the information and then write that within a week. So how was your experience in that? Like, maybe let's start with what was your reaction when you first heard that you made it to the global finals, and how did you like manage your time in the second round?
So we all got the email, right? And I wasn't expecting to get the email, and I honestly thought I didn't win because I thought the results were supposed to be out earlier and
Oh,
I didn't get them. So I was like, okay, maybe I just didn't go to the next round. But then I got the email like a few days after I thought I was supposed to get it. So I was like even more shocked. I was like, I thought I didn't get it. And the email, I don't know, it was just a really big shock to me because going in the first round, I didn't even tell anyone that I was submitting my essay because the competition name itself has Harvard in it, and I feel like that just says a lot about it, and it's also a global competition. So I was like, I don't want to tell everyone that I know that I'm doing this because I think I'm going to fail. So I was like, I don't want to have to tell them later on that I didn't get in. So I just didn't tell anyone. And the first draft, like the first round essay, I wrote like on my own on my computer in like 2 hours. I was just
no way.
Yeah, I was just writing
Whoa.
down whatever. I was like, I'm probably not gonna get in. Like people are way too talented. Like I'm not gonna get in. So yeah, that's probably why it was more of a shock to me. So yeah, it was just really shocking. I remember like low key screaming and like running out my room, and I was like, I want to like contest, and my mom was like,
What?
what? Like, she didn't even know I enrolled in it. And yeah, so after I like won the regionals, I was like kind of panicking because the email said we had to write from the opposite point of view. And at first I thought that that was like so absurd that they would make us do that. I thought I read the email wrong. I was like, am I understanding the instructions correctly? I was like going through the email again and again, but I was right. So we had to write it from the opposite point of view. And that was like a really big challenge for me because my first regional essay, I was going so strong with my argument. My
Mm,
diction was crazy strong. And I ended it off on like a really powerful note. I think I ended it with like a question. I was like, yeah,
oh,
a question leading to like,
question.
this is the obvious answer. There's no other like
Exactly.
argument that can be possible with this topic. So I had to connect, like start writing after that question from the opposite point of view. So I was like, I can't do that. So yeah, basically, so the like connecting part was like, I think I did that last. I like kept putting it off and I did the research first. I looked into more like speeches from like historical events. I think I used like an incident like
As
I think it was like Abraham Lincoln's Lyceum address and a bunch of other just instances that I could use to back up my new argument. And I kind of did it as like a school project, like as I would do a school project, because in Korea they make you do a lot of like um, projects or reports or presentations with every single subject. It's voluntary, but everyone has to do it if you want to go to a good college. So I was kind of used to doing a lot of research and going through a lot of materials. So I just did the same thing and kind of narrowed it down to like the important facts. And then I created the body paragraph first. And then I kind of tried to connect it with my initial essay from the regional round so that makes sense. But I honestly think it could have been better if I didn't end up on like such a strong note in the first essay. But I did my best and I connected it. And I think, honestly, I think the only reason I won is because of my like hook, the beginning of my essay from my first regional round, because I used this concept or this word that like this Korean word. It's called chili, and it's like I kind of utilized it to gain attention, and I began talking about how directly translated it means justice, but it's not exactly just justice itself. It means it has like a deeper meaning to it. So I kind of integrated that like cultural part of my life and my understanding of justice, and then just went off of that. So I think that's what made my essay like unique and made it stand out and everything.
That's so cool because I know we did like both the same topic, we chose the same prompt, and it's an interesting way to start off. The essay. Personally, I also started off with something like culturally connecting to me. I took the Polish abortion example. Like, there's a Polish abortion law that's banning like 98% of all abortions. So yeah, I think now that you talk about it, I feel like this essay competition, you can't just make like arguments. You have to connect it to like a personal story or like a deeper narrative. So wow, that
Yeah.
that was a huge connection. That was like a whoa moment for me. But I just want to ask like one last question. Well, actually two. I want to hear like what was your reaction to winning the second round, and also if there's one tip that you can give away, what would it be? One tip for the super audience and people who want to write for the 2023 round or beyond for the same competition.
Okay. So my reaction to actually winning
Mhm.
the competition, I honestly did not see it coming because a lot of people, I like asked my friends to read over my essays and like help me fix stuff that I needed to fix. And as I talked to a bunch of people about my essay, I kind of realized that I kind of felt like, again, the only reason that I did so well is because of that intro, because of that hook. And I thought that wasn't going to last me enough to actually get me through the entire contest or competition. So I didn't really have a lot of hope. I was just like, this is just a great experience. I'm just glad I got to go through with the entire competition. I was like, it's fine if I don't win. And also, within one of the lectures, I think they said they had like 4,000 applicants. So that was again another point where I was like, yeah, there's no way. But I got the email at again one of those after school academies. I still had to go to those like up until like a few months ago. And I was walking into one of my classes and I got the email and I did not believe it. I was like, there's no way. And so yeah, I told like my friends and my mom and like everyone, like basically everyone in my life. I was like, I can't believe I did this.
Mm.
And honestly, for me, I think because going in, I really did not have a lot of confidence and I just knew I was going to fail. I feel like having such a good outcome from that sort of experience really boosted my confidence and made me just think positively and think better of myself because I still do this, but it used to be really bad. Like I used to be like I'm good at English, but I don't know if I'm like that good. And I was like, English is a language
Yeah.
like a bunch of people around the world speak as their first language. So I was like, it's a hard area to be the top at. So I was like, it's just like a skill I have, not something that I'm like the best at, you know? But I kind of, with this experience, was able to like think of it more as like something that I could better myself at and something that I could actually be good at and like say that is my strong suit. So for next year's applicants, I think I would say I feel like a lot of people are just gonna see it and be like, there's no way I'm gonna even stand a chance and they're just not gonna apply. But I would just say do it because honestly, even if like you don't get through the first round, like it in itself is such a good experience and being able to like it's more like the experience itself, it's because it's a global competition, it's a really it's like stepping into a bigger world, right? Like not just within your school or within your friend group. So I feel like going through experiences like these are really important, and they're just going to shape you into like a better person, like better your skills and everything. And even if you fail, it's going to stack up within every other like experience that you do and eventually lead to success. So I would say just do it even though you think you're going to fail, because that's exactly what I thought. And with writing the essay, I would say pick like a topic that you're actually so passionate about, because the topic that we both wrote on, like the law and justice and everything, I'm really passionate about like human rights and justice, and I actually want to go to law school. So that topic, when I first saw it, I was like, this is what I need to write on, because I think like being passionate about something is not something that you can fake. So just pick something that you can truly talk on and believe in and just show emotion, even though it's like an argumentative essay. And yeah, I think just that like fuel behind you, like why you're starting or why you're um, applying to the competition in the first place is like very important, and that's what's going to get you through the whole process.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like your last point and also your first point. Like personally, I was the summer before I submitted my essay, I went to Columbia's summer program, Columbia University's. And I studied law in that summer program for 3 weeks. So definitely something you need to write, something that you're passionate about to our audience. And also I agree with your like first point about like English. It's not your native language. But you know, you can still be very good at it. And personally, I don't think English is my first language either, actually. I learned English 5 years ago when I came to Poland. So definitely it's like anyone can do it. We're just normal people like you guys.
Honestly, with like the English language learner award part, if your like first language isn't English, I feel like that's totally not something you should like dwell upon and think of as like a setback, because for me, I always kind of thought to myself like, oh, if I was born in a country where English is more spoken, or if I had learned earlier on in my life, maybe I would have been better at this point. But I think that's honestly not what that matters. So basically, it's more of like, because English isn't my first language, I kind of had more of a passion towards it, and I was more eager to be better at it. And that's why I was able to get to this point. And just apart from just speaking it naturally, like pronunciation and whatever, like being good at the language and like the study itself, I feel like doesn't really matter from like what your first language is. So I really hope no one like thinks that they're like behind others because of that.
Mm. Yeah, I would agree too. Thank you, Selena, so much for being on this talk show and taking your time out of, I would assume college application. Really
Yeah.
busy time to like do this interview. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank
your
you so
advice
much
too.
for having me. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.